But Team Liquid have an easy game too, technically based on the results that these teams have had in this split. But if NiP wins against Singularity and Liquid loses this matchup, that's it. It's done. NiP finishes first in Latin America. Before we get into the match, though, we need to see exactly where we're going to play. So let's bring up our map veto system. It's going to be Clubhouse. This is a decent map for both of these teams. This is actually a very strong map historically for FaZe Clan, at least dating back to the last half year, maybe a little while longer.
You have to go pretty far back, to be honest, for FaZe. Like in recent times, the last month or two, like just very recent. They played it one time and they lost it to Fnatic. That was the Invitational. And they actually have been banning it a lot recently. But yeah, if you look far enough back, it was a really good map for FaZe. I think they've had a mentality shift with it recently. Who do you guys think is going to win? Not knowing the maps, of course. Go through that veto. I'm going to continue to talk about the maps, though, as it was Clubhouse. Clubhouse is actually the most played map for Liquid in the last couple months. They have played it 5 times, won it 3 times. The only teams that have managed to beat Liquid on this map were MIBR at the Invitational and Ninjas of Pajamas also at the Invitational. So that's the only drawback for Liquid, but in Pro League, they've been doing pretty well. Liquid will take the community vote, 56%. I think that they will take the match overall.
Well, we're going to waste no time. Let's get on in. Special thanks to MIBR and Black Dragons for finishing earlier than usual to put us a little bit ahead of schedule, and we'll see what FaZe and Team Liquid can do to each other as we now go to Germany, which is the location of Clubhouse. And we'll start off with the operator ban. Of course, Team Liquid will ban first, and taking out an attacker. Thatcher bans are all too common here, but a Capitao instead. We might see our EMP-throwing British friend remain in the fray, because if not, that means that all 3 hard breachers will be left up. That is not common and not usually an ideal strategy on Clubhouse. However, FaZe is starting on attack, so it could be to their benefit to take out Thatcher. All that said, though, they still take out Maverick. So just 2 hard breachers, Hibana and Thermite, will be run every round, and Thatcher will likely be ran as well. So those are 3 of your 5 operators. It kind of ties you in to what you're going to use.
Yeah, you on the attacking side, the lineups are going to look pretty standard. You can bet your bottom dollar and Echo will be banned here. I don't speak Portuguese, but I'm pretty sure that was relax. I don't know what's going on in the chat right now, but I'm sure it's very interesting if you speak PT. Yeah, Echo's gone, so there you go. That's the primary operator banned for both teams, and then Mira as an alternative ban, but you got to get rid of somebody. So the defensive bans and the attacking bans, all in line with the standard, all in line with the expectation. Absolutely no deviation other than, I guess, the Maverick, but you can't really, like, because it hasn't been, between these 2 teams, no one's banned Maverick, but FaZe always ban a hard destructor. Usually it's Hibana, so whatever. I mean, it's going to get the same effect. You're going to be banning out an operator that does hard destruction. Let's see, on the side of Liquid, as they're going to defense first. Let's see here. What are their best sites? Actually, surprisingly, of all of the matches they've played, which is, I think they've played this 5 times in the last few months. Every single time Liquid has gone to the basement, they've won it. It's their second most... clearly Liquid don't know these statistics. Because I'm looking at these stats now and I'm kind of laughing a little bit. I feel like if Liquid had access to this, it would change a little bit of how they play. But Liquid has not lost the basement in the last couple months. They've played it 10 times and they've never lost it. They've won it all 10. And if they play Cash 11 times and they've only won it 5 of those 11 times, which means they have a negative win-loss ratio on Cash and a perfect win-loss ratio on the basement of this map. I'm like, obviously they don't know that because they're playing Cash first. I think that's just kind of funny.
Remarkable stuff. Oh, there's that Christmas skin you were talking about before.
Well, that's the green one. There was a blue. Where's the blue one, man? I just want to know what happened to the blue one because it just mysteriously disappeared. But yeah, it's basically the same as the blue one. I think there was a slight difference, maybe in the reindeer or something. But no.
Wasn't one snowflakes and the other was reindeer?
Oh yeah, no. The blue one was snowflakes, but I think it had reindeer on it. It's been a long time, and again, it's not in my inventory anymore, so I don't know.
What a shame.
Yeah.
Tricking going on, but Astro mistimes it, allowing PSK to get the bandit battery down and frustrate Yuna. As there goes the exothermic charge. PSK will now need to continue onward, but that's the beauty of bringing these two hard breachers, is that when you have basically a fail-safe, and the way that Hibana will work on Cash is that her job is likely going to be construction and or garage. You've got Thermite focusing. What is... Okay, well, that's a new one. Anyway.
Yep, that's weird. I guess we'll just take it as it is. Astro doing some work from below. He'll open up with his lifeline and apply some pressure to the bomb site. He did it by the island inside of Cash, which is a really powerful position to try and isolate.
I can't tell if those are snowflakes or reindeer. I can't.
It's both. I'm pretty sure this is both. Not 100% sure, but I think it's a little bit of both.
A little bit of column A and a little bit of column B.
Yes, I know that one, but I don't remember what it's from.
It's not like really a reference. It's just kind of a thing that people say.
Oh, is that like an
idiom?
It's an idiom, yeah. I was gonna get it. My arms crossed. You can put on my pouty face. Magnets cleared out there. No ADS to speak of, it seems. That's the player on the catwalk struggling, but Sexy Cake is going to assist Palu, and this hold will continue for Liquid. The difficulty here for FaZe is getting into Garage, and look at the time. We've only got 25 seconds to work with. Palu will eventually be dispatched, but it might be too little too late. Sexy Cake, though, not going to be able to get docked up. He will get another kill, though, and possibly a third, but no, Mav will shut him down. Moringa gets Mav as he attempts to vault in, though. And this back and forth is actually still angling towards Team Liquid. Ion going for a plant. He might not be stopped. This could be a close plant, but Live gets impacted, and that's going to be an easy cleanup for Team Liquid as they take round number 1 in Cash.
Now you don't gotta be Stonewall Jackson to know you don't want to be fighting in a garage. And that's exactly what happens. This FaZe has everybody in the garage and they have to go through one of two ways into the site, and Liquid don't have to struggle too much to hold it down. With the timer being the way it is, you know that the moment that FaZe breaks and enters, they'll have to get the diffuser down. And you know where the default plant spot is going to be. It's exactly where the plant was going down by FaZe. They didn't really try to change anything up. They planted in the safest spot possible, which is with 3 angles being covered, which is your back with the bomb chassis there, your left with the server rack, and then to the right, seeing as how you have garage control. Of course, the defenders can fling around it if they want, and that's exactly what happened. So Team Liquid just setting up and stalling. That bandit tricking killed so much time against FaZe. A ton of time. So much so that FaZe needed to totally recalculate their advance. And it was just a misplay by a couple seconds from the Zofia onto the bandit that could have very easily allowed the attackers to open the wall up. Misfortune for FaZe ends up costing them as they try to go in through garage. There's nobody pushing construction. It's way too linear of a push for FaZe. They all stack up and they all get gunned down. Liquid doesn't need to break much of a sweat. They don't get restless. They commit to the lines of sight. They commit to where the push is coming from, and they repel it effectively.
Parker.
10 seconds to go.
I got that one.
Got my trump card ready.
5
There you go.
seconds left.
Inglorious. I remember that one.
Yeah, you are correct.
It was a good movie. Now, or it is a good movie, I guess. Now, FaZe going for an execution here on the bottom floor. Again, over the last 5 matches, regardless of winning or losing the map overall, Liquid has yet to lose a defense on the bottom floor of this map. So, I guess with that kind of a record, you should expect this to be a Team Liquid win. So with that out of the way, we can just skip these next 2 minutes. 2-0 for Liquid. And we'll move on, unless FaZe are going to be the upset to that. I mean, it'd be cool to see. Apparently, and I didn't even know this until I looked at the stats. Apparently, we haven't seen that for a while. The roam upstairs for Liquid. FaZe trying to lock down that top floor. Still a roamer over by Cash, but at least they do put pressure on the roamers on the master side. Looks like they've pushed most of them back. Mozzie has just hacked, I think he got 2 drones. Couldn't quite hear that second one, but I know he got at least 1. So those pests working really well, as will Nesk. This team gets the first kill of the round. Down goes Ion. Now FaZe, already a man down. A little bit of a struggle here.
Thatcher being down as well is usually quite detrimental. However, you look at Liquid's lineup, and the only denial that is in play is the jammers from Moringa. So you don't have to sweat too much if you're FaZe. You obviously don't enjoy the fact that you're trailing, but also a lot of those walls have been opened up due to the roam that we see from Liquid. Those jammers that might be positioned on Church, because we don't know the exact area for every single one of Moringa's gadgets, could end up being a major problem, but that's something that FaZe will encounter later in this round. They still have a lot of work to do. They need to find the remaining roamers for Liquid. They need to punish them, and they can't fall mercy to this time. Yuna will push back over towards Dirt, and that's one of his exothermic charges gone. He's actually used both of them. I'm not sure where the other one would apply. Kitchen Hatch is still soft. So FaZe, still, as I said, that have a lot of work to do. Yeah, it's going to get even worse for them, especially now that they just lost Astro. And an impact grenade will blow up some of the gadgetry from the Hibana on that Kitchen Hatch. So this is a major problem for them.
So either Moringa was still roaming, or he walked up Oil Pit, climbed the ladder, and got a kill in Garage. Either way, huge oversight from FaZe. They don't have any more exo... You missed. The default cam is still up as far as my eye... Unless my eyes deceive me, it's still up. But a push down the hallway will work for Yuna regardless. And he gets Church control. This is really shocking for Liquid. They shouldn't have forfeited this. It shouldn't matter in the end in a 2v4. But Yuna is going to go for a plant, and there's good cover from Mav. They'll get one of the C4s. Great job playing by Moto. Plant now. Yuna playing by the black box. He can hold this pretty easily. Mav will go down in the hallway, though, and Yuna's also going to lose his fight. So Liquid will get an easy disable there. And, yeah, 2-0 Liquid. So a nice try there for Yuna. Seeing an opportunity to push down the hallway and taking site control.
I like to think that that was a lot closer than a 4v0 will show you. And for people that might be some novices with this game, once Yuna planted, there aren't a lot of ways that the defenders can push you inside a Church. You can hold those angles down and trade out effectively, or even just simply rack up kills on your own if your opponents play it poorly. Obviously, Liquid did not. And from the 2 rounds that we've seen so far, not just do Liquid look more coordinated, albeit on a map that is defender-sided, the side that Liquid is playing, so you expect them to do quite well out of the gate, but Liquid are also landing their shots more reliably. Both of these teams have no shortage of firepower. They are both chalked to the gills with tons of excellent aimers, but today it just looks like Liquid has that hotter hand. And sometimes, when teams are very closely matched, that can make all of the difference.
I'd say that the key is... how Liquid is getting unanswered kills upstairs. Those kills that just, nobody is getting a frag back on the side of FaZe. That to me is the main takeaway. That's the reason why FaZe is struggling so much, because when Nesk is getting a kill as alibi over by Master and then just running away, and then nothing happens for like a minute, that really just put you in a mindset where you're thinking to yourself, oh, okay, well, we're a man down. Nothing came of it. We got some control, but we're wasting time now. Things look pretty desperate, and you have to it's like you're clawing back from defeat at that point already. It's this stop-go nature of FaZe where they don't fully commit to something, and when they lose a fight or lose a player, they get more hesitant, and it hurts them. I think that's the biggest problem. Oh gosh, Parker, when you were about to do something and you completely forgot what it was?
I've had a couple of those today already.
Yeah.
I had to wake up really, really early today because we decided to get the delivery groceries.
Right.
To risk, so we don't have to risk going out. Today was the first day that it was available, so I had to wake up mad early, much earlier than usual.
How many days did you have to wait? I'm curious.
It was almost 2 weeks actually.
Yeah, it's about the same over here. But if you want to go set it up, it's like 2 weeks.
I mean, there are a lot of grocery stores nearby. Thank God I'm in Toronto, because there are a ton of grocery stores nearby.
Yeah.
But a lot of them were a lot of them were not available. I think the Electric Claw might... No, he lost this. So a late reinforcement from PSK, and he'll be spotted as it goes up. Yuna assesses that there's somebody inside of bathroom as we take a moment to stop talking about our daily errands and lives and instead focus on this match that's unfolding in front of our very eyes.
Yeah. There's, I mean, that was played pretty much flawlessly by Liquid. There was no chance they were going to be able to save that one, given the way that FaZe played it out. The Goyo shield actually worked against Liquid because it prevented bandit tricking, and then the Kaid with Electric Claw was dealt with thanks to the EMPs. So flawlessly by both teams, I would say, but Liquid takes the edge because they managed to get the reinforcement in the bathroom off before it, couldn't happen anymore. PSK will be dispatched inside of said bathroom, though, so, well, there you go. You've got a good start for FaZe. They did lose some HP on their Thermite, but I mean, still, an unresponded kill. I was talking about how crucial that was earlier. Nade will go out and wide. Nothing comes of it. Another one for Mav, and once again, nothing coming of the nade. Not even getting the shield. That's somewhat surprising considering where the nade landed.
Frustrating, I'd imagine, if you were Mav. So FaZe are all stacked up, and they are a Nitro cell away from losing that entire team. Astro runs in, gets gunned down by Palu, playing behind the mattress, waiting very patiently. Down goes Sexy Cake, and FaZe are now dominating when it comes to kills. Ion bursts in. He's got the Bandit there, but down goes the Bandit now as he had taken out Ion. A break and enter down below into a 2v2, but there's two for Yuna as I believe one of them had been downed, and the Jaeger finished off on main stairs. Yuna, the star of the show. When defenders lose on Clubhouse, it's usually Gym Master, and well, that's exactly what happens. It's enough for FaZe to get their first round on the board, though, and allow Team Liquid to begin this cycle again upstairs in Cache CCTV.
So, FaZe managed to take away one round, at the very least. That's actually really big because on a Clubhouse attack half, if you have one bomb site you can consistently win, that means you'll take 2 rounds out of the half, and that is a good result. You really do want to be peeling away at least 2 rounds for Clubhouse attack. So solid job there for FaZe. Well done to them. If they can win on another bomb site like Cache, I'd say the Cache is their best chance. I think that when Liquid goes back to the basement, that's a surefire, that's a shoo-in for them, basically. So FaZe's best chance is to win here, and then win the next time, or well, they'll probably lose the next time they go to Cache. Like, let's present a scenario where they win on Cache. It has to be here this round, and it would be probably... It's either they win here on this round, get 2 rounds, and then Liquid don't go to Gym, or they lose here on this round, Liquid go to Gym again, and then FaZe take that. But no matter what, we're really looking down the barrel of a 4-2 off this first half. That is assuming, of course, Liquid does not shore up their defense of the Gym. And it also is assuming that FaZe might be able to take a Cache attack. Either way, yeah, I'm expecting a 4-2 from this half based on what we've seen so far, based on records from both teams.
Unless FaZe are able to make something out of their... There were 2 things, actually. Okay, let me start over. There were 2 things that I think can swing both of those rounds. And they were 2 very crucial errors committed by FaZe. Right now in front of our eyes, this is going to be the most important. If they can get this wall open without PSK being able to bandit trick it, then that is a massive win for them. And that's exactly what happens. In fact, they could have actually picked up on PSK had somebody still been there watching the wall, because he had to go through the barricaded door. That's why he wasn't getting stunned by the Zofia, because the barricaded door stops those, those proximity-based concussions from going off. However, one thing that didn't work in FaZe's favor last time was getting that wall open. That's why they were forced into garage. That's why they didn't have time to head on over towards construction, actually use some utility over there. If they're able to move to construction, take out Moringa, and also Palu in garage with minimal casualties, which is something they couldn't do before. Now that they've opened up this wall, they will have more time to do it. They could end up changing this round for the better, and there you go. Moringa now being pressured inside of construction. He's got 2 of those volcanic shields. Hail Impact to try to stop the X-Kairos from going off in logistics, but it's in vain. There's still an opening that's cracked open, and there's nothing he can do as he now loses the protection of the wall next to him, and he has to get out of there as FaZe are making quick work of this setup from Liquid. This is a much better start.
Honestly, really good delay work, though, from Liquid, and they're actually going to get a kill onto Astro as he attempts to vault in through the workshop window. It looks like that was on a long angle from the top of the stairs. So well played there to Liquid. They get the start that they need. And now FaZe are working from a deficit. Nobody outside of the balcony. Sexy Cake is aware of this, and he's going to play as a result inside of B. That's kind of a weird oversight from FaZe, but Ion will rotate, and he will get Sexy Cake. So there you go. There's that pressure from the balcony that you needed. But there's the refrag as well, so it's gone now. FaZe all coming from the workshop side. Thermite rotating to the balcony. Again, FaZe recognized that they need to cut off rotation by B. There's not much time for this to happen. The rotation needs to come in now. Here's the push in, and that was really poorly timed. Moringa, Palu, and Palu again pick up the final kills. Liquid locking out that round. And that means that FaZe, their best chance of getting 2 rounds out of this half, likely to be on the next gym attempt for Liquid, which will be the final round of this first half.
So a much different attack from Liquid, or from FaZe rather, but it was still answered by Liquid the same way. Instead of focusing on garage, because you'd already opened up the panel, FaZe decide let's focus on construction instead. So they go over there, and I don't think that's the wrong call to make in isolation, but they didn't clear anybody out. Liquid literally just collapsed into the site and played 5 men in the net. That was it. You know, you have to have FaZe crash at that point. They have to crash the net. They can't do it. For those that watch hockey, they'll understand what I'm saying. Instead, FaZe ends up trickling in one by one. They are not in a position to support each other on the take, and unfortunately for them, they just get beaten. Once again, going back to something I said at the tail end of the second round, which is that Liquid are winning their gunfights in spades at the moment. They look much better and much more comfortable with these engagements, and nobody really on this team is dropping the ball when it comes to 1v1s. FaZe are hard-pressed to win a round on a 1v1, regardless of how well supported they are or how well set up they are. So this is going to be a challenge for FaZe for the remainder of their attacks. The good news is that it should get easier when they switch sides, but the bigger focus now is Liquid have looked like a much stronger team. Yes, again, they are working with a Clubhouse defense. This is an extremely defender-sided map when it comes to both cache and church bomb sites, the latter of which we're on right now. But FaZe need to ensure that they can keep this one close. If they get blown out, it doesn't really matter at that point how many rounds you can win the next time, because there's a high likelihood that the momentum's all gone and frustration will set in enough to allow Liquid to finish it off.
It has to be a top clear here for FaZe to begin with. And that is, we're talking about frustration. A very frustrating thing to do on Clubhouse. It takes a long time to clear out that top floor. Especially when Moringa is there with a shotgun by Jim and able to get the kill that he just got. He'll drop through the drop down and fall back. Actually not fall back, really just embed himself further in the roam. He's gonna go over to strip. Now FaZe are not in an ideal situation. No refrag. Top floor not fully cleared out. In fact, they've got control by the master side, but not much more than that. A minute expended, a player lost, and a Zofia at that. The Swiss Army knife that is the Polish operator gone. No more impacts, no more lifeline. You don't even have an Ash in play right now. That's a lot of soft destruction. Just poof. Paulo is in cash still, and it doesn't seem like FaZe is actually aware of this. But nope, there's the pre-fire from Mab. They are aware. It's a flank from Live. They need to be careful not to lose Live, I was just about to say, and then they did. Mozzie Pest will get the drone, so no hard information on Palu's location, but Map wins the fight anyway. It doesn't really matter, though. Damage done. As I said, they needed to be careful not to lose Live, and now they did, and there's your hard destruction gone, except for Yuna. So now the options for FaZe are pretty sparse, I guess is the word I'd use, and they haven't even cleared out the roamers. There's still Moringa in strip, and he's just waiting for a late flank. At this point, the round is over.
I mean, unless we see some heroics, it looks like it's going to be the same style of execute that FaZe pulled off the last time they attacked this bomb site back in round 2. Go in, rely on Yuna or somebody to get one pick, take control of site, assume you have site control, not actually have it, and then lose it. And Moringa is going to go fishing here. I don't know if he's aware that somebody is still up above. That castle barricade is a little unfriendly at the moment. There drops Yuna. The only information that they're going to have will be bulletproof cameras or a Mozzie Pest. If you're Moringa, you're going to have to go in a hurry, because down goes PSK, taken out by the buck of Mav. So FaZe back to 3v3, but there's one downed. Immediately traded off. Extremely well played by Yuna there. It's a 2v2, so odds far better favoring FaZe, and there's Mav with 3 kills all on his shoulders. But inside of the corner, there's Nesk. He just needs to wait 5 seconds. He's completely flashed, and he gets pushed by Yuna, and he loses the duel. The thermite in. He makes Church his own. Beautifully played flash. No way that Nesk was getting out of that one alive, barring a miraculous spray and pray. FaZe take it on a bit of a stunner in the final 10 seconds of that round.
Yeah, so really that's Mav saving it. I should note that that is the first time over the last 5 matches that on this map that Liquid have had that they've lost the basement defense. So record upset. We get a clap in the chat for FaZe. Well done to them. Well done to Mav in particular. I mean, and this is against teams like, let's take a look here. MIBR, Team 1, MIBR again, Ninjas of Pajamas, and Black Dragons. So those are the teams that Liquid have played Clubhouse on in the last few months. At the Invitational, they only played, strangely, LATAM teams on this map. MIBR and NIP. Anyway, well played again to FaZe. Great job to Mav. Yuna also, good job. But the main thing is, Mav. Really, just coming alive, picking up those kills where he needed to. The save from Yuna as well by Moto is pretty big. That was the key. And then obviously Yuna got the last kill in the 1v1 with that stun. So 2 key kills from Mav, or sorry, two key kills from Yuna, and then Mav just going on a tear. And that's the story of that round. There wasn't really any strategic play that contributed to the win. That's the reason why there's not a lot to talk about here. It was really just Mav winning his gunfights and then Yuna saving certain engagements, ones that he really shouldn't have been able to. Well, yeah, that's the story. Nice try there from Liquid, but I guess better try from Mav and Yuna.
I'm impressed, honestly. I'm impressed.
Yeah, me too. And what it does open us up to is the potential for a 3-3 half. So this could still actually be... right now, FaZe is in a decent spot. If this goes 4-2, then that's fine. But if it ends up 3-3, then I would say FaZe is actually looking pretty comfortable for a win.
I'd agree with that.
Yeah. This is a better FaZe than we've been seeing in this latter half of the season. So that's good. That's a good sign. I think that they're finally getting comfortable with their current lineup. Ooh, really bad timing there from Live. He actually saw his opponent, came off the angle at the worst moment. Paulo will be forced off that position though, because the wall gets opened up. Going to be the top floor cleared out of roamers, it seems. And as a result, FaZe will shift their focus to the middle floor.
Which is appropriate. I think they're still going to have to deal with a similar lineup from Liquid in terms of time wasting, as it's another take on Church here, and it's going to be very different in how they approach this. I'm sure they've actually taken a lot longer to accomplish what they want, but their focus tends to be more over towards blue and dirt, and I don't know if Liquid can assess that. Liquid have left open a soft hatch inside of stock, which is the one that corresponds with the blue tunnel down below. They make me eat my own words, as FaZe have immediately turned and are now heading towards the kitchen. In comes the Hibana, my goodness, Live. That is quite a mistake. And one for Nesk as he's pinned down inside a kitchen. They must know this. If Dirt Tunnel is opened, he could in theory run out and try to get back into Dirt Tunnel, but he's going to linger. He knows the door is breaking next to him. Just a little bit done. No idea where it is.
It looks like Dirt Tunnel's still reinforced, and with the limited hard destruction, after Hibana's loss, they have to account for not opening that. Nesk is going to get 2 before being shut down by Ion. I mean, really, that's damage done. So once again, FaZe in a really desperate position. No exothermic charges on Yuna, which means no church wall getting opened up. Only 25 seconds. Ion eats a lot of damage and is eventually finished off by Palu. Yuna will survive amazingly, and Astro's got control of blue. So this is not unwinnable for FaZe. It's just not it's not very likely. You can see Liquid just trying to wait this out. They know they don't need to take fights right now. Playing by B2 is the Legion, and he gets shut down by Astro. Pistol out, though. Not a lot of chance. He'll get another one, but he's probably not going to get Palu with the dying seconds. He actually almost did. Palu making a little bit of a mistake and stepping out too early, but still a win for Liquid. As close as it came, thanks to Nesk's efforts, there just wasn't enough manpower on the side of FaZe to execute that site successfully.
Honestly, major props to FaZe though for almost being able to pull that off on a similar set, a similar setup that we saw from Liquid. FaZe tackled it a little bit differently. They had they had Astro go down blue. You had Yuna do the exact same thing all 3 rounds that Liquid defended Church, which is just march right down the main stairs and then go through Moto or just take fights in the corridor. I'm kind of surprised that Liquid allowed that to go unpunished. Unless they just don't have intel on what Yuna is doing, you'd think that there'd be somebody to try and maybe fight him in his position, but no, that wasn't really the case. I'm guessing that Liquid probably set this up to be as much of a stall style of defense as possible. I'm not really sure, but things got real scary for FaZe there, and they almost managed to get out of it. Coming down to a 1v1 with Astro having a goo mine in his foot is not ideal. And a lack of drones, or the inability to drone, as I should correct myself, were the big things there. And first and foremost, the most major one of them all was that they never droned out Nesk inside a kitchen. Now, with Nesk playing in kitchen with his ability active, he could be down below playing under kitchen hatch, looking to try and impact any of the hard destruction you do. He could be playing above in logistics to try and stop you. You don't really know at that point where he is, and that's obviously a major issue. Additionally, having a mute and a Mozzie on the board makes it all the more difficult, and that's something that you got to keep in mind of too.
Double way crossfire there on Astro. He'll dodge every single one of those bullets, renaming himself to Neo after this, and get out scot-free, able to avoid the onslaught from Liquid as they attempt to clear out the strip club. This is a really, actually, great position for FaZe to find themselves in. Again, I will say that a 2-4 is a solid attacking half. So with this confident and aggressive roam we're seeing from FaZe, I say they haven't lost any of their, confident stance, I guess, based on their result in the first half. But that's a good sign for FaZe. I'm actually optimistic for their chances at a win here. Koozie wall opened up. Pressure applied to the top floor. Most of the roamers for FaZe, I believe, are on the middle floor, but only catching so much of that. Yeah, you got Astro and I believe that's Mav over by the garage. Astro does have one more impact for rotation, and he can rotate through the wall that's behind him over by the desks. Ooh, but he's going to actually just use the Moto drop down. Good timing to get out of there after the castle barricade got opened up, and that's why those castle barricades are so crucial. They allowed Astro to get out of that without dying, and if not for them, he very likely would have. And they basically... Again, thanks to SSG for making that one, because it opens up the doors for so many teams to roam on the basement of Clubhouse. And you can see Astro is going to re-engage that roam. He's still got Ion and Mav to support him on this attempt. There's only a minute left for Liquid, and they haven't cleared out the roams yet.
I really liked how the moment that FaZe retreated, they had Yuna set up to try and barricade and hold down that fort. This was obviously a very concerted effort by FaZe to play this way, and I think the job has largely been done. There's the very first kill of the round. It's going to come to live. He had yet to find a kill in this matchup, but Nesk does Nesk things. He gets taken out, but not before he manages to take out 2 members of FaZe. FaZe actually trail in terms of numbers, forcing Astro to try to head back in. And the man that we were absolutely fascinated with in his style of play, he's going to be in a 1v3 with the diffuser going down, trying to dance around the Hibana. There's Astro. Can't do enough damage to Palu. Diffuser down, so timer now running. A kill for Astro, but he's still got 2 more to find. And as you can see, Liquid, they're scrambling in the post plant. They've gotten into position, and they have the line of sight onto the last remaining member of FaZe. A 5th round on the board for Liquid. and their first attack proves to be successful.
All right, so the focal point of that, of course, is going to be Ness, because he just injects himself into Arsenal coming down the main hallway. But the peripheral kills were also paramount there for Liquid, as they're clear over by Moto, and they're opening of the wall into Arsenal to allow for that rush straight into the site, as well as the drop down. That was probably the most important thing for Liquid, because if Ness just wrecking balls his way down the main hallway and then has no success, well, yeah, okay, he gets 2 kills, but has no further success in locking anything up, then it doesn't matter. FaZe will bounce back after that. Again, it was the peripheral kills, it was the control established while Ness was doing that by Liquid, and the fact that this is all happening in unison that allowed Liquid to take that round so confidently. It could have still been struggled if that wasn't done as well as it had been by Liquid, if it wasn't coordinated as well as it was. It could have still been struggled into a win for Liquid, but it was a butter smooth win for Liquid because of their teamwork. And I really have to admire that. It goes... I think it contributes to a team to see that they've got a player like Ness. And we've got a lot of Nests in the world. You know, we've got... I'm going to draw a direct comparison here with, like, let's say Shaiko, right? You got a player like Ness on a team like Liquid, and while he is, again, the focal point of an attack, he is not the extent of the attack. He is not, like, the depth of the attack. He's not all of it, right? He'll make that attempt, he'll get that wrecking ball, and he'll, like, churn around that shouldn't be a win into a win by his efforts, but only because the rest of his team all around him are doing things aside from him doing his thing. And that's key, because not every team that operates, not every team that has a player like that operates like that. Some of them rely solely on their wrecking ball player to make big plays and to win them rounds, and they just focus on supporting them. But yeah, anyway, that's a bit of a ramble. So good job to Liquid. Nice job to Nesk and the whole team, really.
Summed up as perfectly as it could. And honestly, I think the big thing that has really stood out in this matchup in particular has just been small tweaks to both Liquid and FaZe's game plans. You know, these teams have approached things a little bit different, but have still largely focused on the same areas, same style of play, etc. And it's another church defense for FaZe. They've made quite a number of changes, so that whole incremental change kind of deal, keep things kind of the same, well, that's not present anymore, as FaZe is playing a far more conventional on-site style. They're not going to go with the roam that we'd seen from Liquid a couple times and FaZe had enacted in the previous round. This is going to allow them to sit pretty while the clock ticks away, knowing that this type of Clubhouse take is going to occur unless Liquid decides, hey, there's nobody in sight, let's push it. This is going to take about all but the final 25 seconds or so. And then it just really comes down to gunfights. And the biggest area is going to be where Liquid chooses to drop. Are they going to drop Moto? Because then if so, Church becomes the fun site for everybody to play. Or the kill house could be over towards Arsenal. That's going to be something that Liquid knows, but we don't yet.
Well summed up the options there. Looks like they're going to be putting some focus towards Dirt. You mentioned was an option. Possibly, like, based on the drones and the yard destruction, it seems like a pinch between Dirt, Moto, and Blue. Light pressure Moto, main focus Blue and Dirt, it seems. They've got that control they need, but Live's going to be trying to contest Dirt, and he'll actually win the fight against Moringa. So that'll alleviate a lot of pressure for FaZe, but meanwhile, the take coming over by Blue is actually going back and forth. Like Liquid, though, put in a bad spot. One in the hallway, one in kitchen. Oh, he checks it, but he doesn't commit fully. PSK will be refragged there, or will get the refrag, rather. And control of Arsenal is established, but there's so little time. Player inside a Dirt tunnel for FaZe, and the other player's dead, which means Church is now the main focus. Live has to get out of Dirt, and his position is known. He'll be locked up in this position, making an attempt. It's going to be difficult. Caught in the cross, put to low HP. Nesk will die to a single bullet, but it might not matter, as Live will too. Post-plant here, PSK's on full HP. Live has to make a play. He has to do something. He's playing this far too cautiously. He'll go for the wide swing, pre-fired by Nesk, and it's a lockout for Team Liquid. A great execution and adaptation. The focus was for Arsenal, but the shift was for Church. Well played. to Liquid.
It's one of those things where you just pray that everything works out, and for Liquid, it sure does. They commit much faster than I had expected, and yeah, they won those gunfights, which was so crucial for them to be able to put this one into a 6-2. It gives a single point to Liquid. They need all three, and with how close they are, alongside Nip, they stand shoulder to shoulder, starting the day off at the top of the standings, tied up, with Nip holding that tiebreaker. So not only, if you're Liquid, do you need to pick up all 3 points here, but additionally, you need to hope that Nip loses. Maybe later today to Singularity. We'll see. That match is coming up, but right here, right now, FaZe, they've struggled. There have been a couple of these rounds that have really come down to the wire, and honestly, you can kind of flip a coin and maybe have FaZe emerge victorious, in large part because of the gunfights. I bring this up again. When you have people like Nesk or PSK that have been great on their opening duels, or at least doing well on opening duels, or in closing out the round, more so in PSK's area of expertise, it's very challenging for you to be able to do anything on a map like Clubhouse. Now, the one thing I did say is that FaZe is the benefit of being on defense, but they've dropped both of their defenses so far. That should not be the case. Now, there still is obviously some salvation here. You're not going to find it down in church necessarily, but if you win the next 4 in a row, that puts you at a 4-2, which is exactly where Liquid was. The greater problem is that you didn't lose Gym Bedroom yet, and that's a bomb site that most teams lose. So you're in trouble if you're FaZe in that regard. I still think it's definitely doable, but Liquid have been the better team so far today, and it's really showing.
I agree with you. I think it's pretty desperate for FaZe, just because, as you mentioned, when you get to that rotation, even if you're winning everything that you should win, well, then you have to play the site that you shouldn't win. And then, you're GG, I guess. So the opportunity that I think was acquired by FaZe in the first half has, in my mind, effectively been lost at this point. And, well, let's see if they can make cash work. Maybe prolong this a little bit longer. But it still seems like FaZe is on the floor bleeding out. And the odds of them taking this are slim to none. Great job to Liquid for putting them there. Now, that's the server wall opened up without any major kerfuffle. Job done. Following that, nothing really transpiring, though. No crazy plays from either team to go out of the ordinary. It's going to be a clear over by Workshop in all likelihood next for Liquid, or maybe a focus on Garage. Those are the two options available to Liquid. But it looks like, yeah, based on the droning, it's going to be obviously the Workshop, which is the more common option in this day and age. Allowing yourself the hammer anvil strat that we so commonly see on this bomb site. They have to make sure it's clear, though. Valkyrie Cam spotted thanks to the EMP. That's a great read there. This is a pretty easy Workshop clear for Liquid, and it'll allow for them to apply a lot of pressure to the bomb site. We'll start using the Habana Excaros. There's nothing that FaZe can really do to stop this. The impacts are coming out, but because it's an Excaros put so low, it won't matter. He can't use another set for danger and fear of another impact, but I mean, he may as well. There's nothing else for him to use it on. The impact will get those Excaros, but it doesn't really matter as it's the third set. Liquid also gets a kill onto Ion in the Garage. Ion was trying to run out on Garage, and there goes Astro in cash, and it's spiraling out of control for FaZe.
Final 40 seconds, and Liquid have the control that they've wanted, though there is still some play down below. That's Yuna. He's watching his teammates die above him. He gets pressured from stock and very swiftly removes Moringa. The threat is now gone. Nitro Cell not in hands for Yuna, and he's not going to be able to do anything on that construction wall. That leaves greater pressure on the shoulders of Mav, who takes a little bit of fire damage from the down Goyo and now is caught from the side. Answering back is Yuna, but it's all for naught because Nesk is there, and he takes him out. That was a quick one as well. My goodness, that was fast. 7-2 in favor of Liquid, and first place in Latin America, with just one playday left, is solely theirs.
We start casting like an hour and a half ago, Parker?
Pretty remarkable, hey? We're already halfway through.
We've been cruising through this straight up. Well played there to Liquid for a exceptionally dominant match. Nesk and Paulu, obviously the standouts there. I'd say that Yuna put up a heck of a fight as an individual, but I mean, across the board, FaZe doing a whole lot of work. Live, a pretty difficult match there